there, Lloyd Machedo speaking from LloydMachedo.com, who's Lloyd Machedo and Think Personal Branding. Today, the date is June 9th, 2018. Time right now is 8:47 in the night. Okay, I spoke to a client customer who asked me the question with regards to, going through a midlife crisis, and at the age of 40, he's nearly 40, but he wants to know what is next. So I thought I'd address this topic about going through a midlife crisis. Midlife crisis is in and around at the age of 40, changing careers, and what's next. So, see, what happens is when you're in your 20s, when you're just starting off your career, that time you tend to, you tend to think that you're invincible, that you can conquer the world, you can be the next Elon Musk, you can be famous, you can be an actor. You just feel that there is so much of time that you have that you can literally do anything and get away with it. And given the fact that you're young, you're raging testosterone, you feel invincible. You'll have goals that I'll be the CEO of a company. I'll have 100 million. I'll be famous. I'll travel around the world. The options are never ending. However, once you cross from 20 to 30, where you are hyper with all this energy, when you reach your 30s, that time you start prioritizing. Okay, I'm in my 30s. I need to have a career. I need to be serious about my career. I need to make some money. You start looking at things slightly more realistically. You enjoy a little bit of early success. So there you go through a transition. Then you look back in your 20s and say, oh, I was immature then. However, when you come to the age of 40, there's something magical about this age, because when you reach 40, that time you start evaluating, sheesh, I've finished half my life. I have another 20 more years after which I'm retired, and I would not be able to work, because once you cross 50, nobody wants to employ you. In fact, people don't want to employ you after the age of 40. Whenever you do apply for a job, people look at you differently. 40 is like old, even though you don't feel old. Like, for example, I'm 41, I don't feel old. But however, if I tell the market I'm 40 years old, they look at me like, ooh. And for a youngster, for someone in your 20s, when you think 40, you think uncle, you think of a guy with a big mustache, with a hanging pot belly, and you look at the guy as really old, as an old man, like a guy with 4 or 5 children, pot belly, mustache, beard, and huffing and puffing. You don't look at someone like Batman or Superman or with 6-pack abs, never. So that's the perception people have, and by the time you're 50, I doubt anyone would want to employ you. So you realize at the age of 40, I have 20 more years. I need to be realistic. Age is catching up. Health is not being as before. Testosterone is dropping down. So that's where the midlife crisis comes in. And you really begin to think like, where am I headed? What am I doing next? And what should I be doing next? You start thinking of, family and children. And that's the same thing I went through. And you start making many more decisions which you would not make, especially the uncomfortable ones. And I think the biggest question or statement that hammers people is, sheesh, I'm 40. How much am I earning? And if I continue earning like this, what will my savings be and what will I fall back on? So it's a paradigm shift. So when you go through the age of 40, that time I think you need to be really scared and you need to be very realistic about your life. These are some of the questions I would recommend. Number one is ask yourself, what are you really good at? Okay, if you're good at a process, let's say for example, you are in a bank, and you know the process of a credit card, how to sell, get the customer, get the card approved, or the loan. If you're good at a process, keep in mind you can get replaced anytime, because anyone can learn the process. If you learn the process from scratch, they can also get someone else to learn the process from scratch. There's always the temptation to say, yes, but I have experience. Experience gets eclipsed by top performance, by effectiveness, by efficiency. So if you have someone in his 20, let's say 30s, but who is dynamic, who brings in double the revenue or 1.5 times the revenue you're bringing, then you can be replaced. And if you are in a crowded marketplace that there are many people like you, let's say you're a designer or you're a salesman, If there are many other people doing the exact same job that you're doing, then the chances are you can get replaced. So the first one, you need to ask yourself, what are you really good at? Okay, what are you really good at? And be very realistic about it. In fact, your salary is more or less the indication of what the market would pay you. Because don't get fooled by offers where someone from abroad tells you, I'll pay you 5 times more. If they're paying you 5 times more, there is a catch. Either the expenses are also 5 times more, 10 times more, or they don't tell you many of the details as to why, even though they're paying you so much, why is it that they're approaching you, and why that position is not yet filled. Because remember, if something is too good to be true, it is always too good to be true. Okay. So number one, what are you good at? Number two, what can you offer the market? So let's assume you're deciding to move from being an employee to a freelancer, or you're going to a new company. You have to know what is it that you can offer the market. Like what does the market need? What is their need, and what can you bring into the table? Say, for example, in my case, when I decided I was no longer going to work for a company, I had to identify, okay, what is it that I can offer the market? I knew I could do public speaking. I knew I could do training, but I didn't have the content. I knew I could, be a keynote speaker. I could sell products at events. I could do seminars. I could teach bodybuilding because I knew a little bit of bodybuilding, although I was not certified. I knew how to manage a business, a gym, because I managed my mother's business. I knew a little bit of event management. I could organize events. So I made a list of what are the skills I could offer. Okay. And then obviously, if this is what you're offering, you need to know, does the market have a demand for it? Okay. Does the market need it? So when you bridge both of them, that is where you come to know whether you can sustain and survive. The next question you need to ask yourself is, who actually is ready to pay you? Because if nobody is willing to pay you, how would you survive? Let's say, for example, me, when I decided I would try a career change, I had to ask myself, which guy is willing to pay me? Okay, I had to identify. So I could identify either companies, or I could identify human beings, people, individual people. And then when I further studied the demographic, I found that it was not ladies, it would primarily be men. And then, I further divided it into, okay, it is not Arab men, it is not CEOs, because I just started my career. It would mostly be Asians. And if I had to identify in Asians, not be Filipinos, it would not be Pakistanis, it would be Indians. And if I went further into just Indians, it would be South Indians. So you need to identify who exactly is willing to pay, from the age group to the company, to the industry. Like, for example, maybe a multinational company would not employ you, or maybe only multinational companies can afford you. It's not local companies. So you should be able to find out who's willing to pay you. The next one is, this one is important, especially how much are they willing to pay you? See, there's always a tendency to overhype how much you tend to think you're worth. It always feels good. When I started off, I assumed that people would pay me at least $100 an hour, 100 dirhams. That's roughly around $25 or $27, I think, roughly. Let me just give you the exact amount, 82 USD. So I was actually looking at $27.22 to be paid per hour when I started my career as a trainer. However, to my shock and surprise, because I didn't have any experience, I didn't have any customers, I didn't have any clients, I didn't have any articles, I was not visible online. Nobody, when I told people $27 an hour, they were like, oh, this is too expensive, because I didn't even have the right connections. And to my shock and surprise, after desperation, after 4 months of not getting anyone, one guy said, okay, I'll pay you 100, that is $27, but for 1 month of training. I was like, what? 1 month of training? And given the fact that I didn't have anyone else, I kind of agreed. Half an hour or 1 hour, 4 times a month. In between, he would give me calls. I had to agree for that. So you need to know how much people are willing to pay you. And one good way is, when you apply in the market, you meet decision makers, and they tell you, okay, there's no vacancy. Then you ask them this question. Even if they tell you no vacancy, how much would you have been willing to pay if in case you were interested in a person like me? Like, how much would you pay for this position of for a person of my skill? Ask them. You can be blunt with me, whatever the amount is. For my skill, what do you think is my value? So I have actually asked people this explicit question: how much do you think you'd be willing to pay a person like me, or how much do you think my value is per hour or per month, whatever? So that is where you get the exact figure. One other question that you also need to ask yourself, and these are numbers, is how much should you charge per hour, or how many hours should you work per day, or how many hours in total do you work for per month? Like, do you work 7 days? So, see, keep this in mind. There are some companies that pay you work 5 days in a week, so it's 2 days off. There are some companies that pay you slightly higher, but then they'll say come 6 days a week, and plus on your off day also you'll have to take calls. There are some companies who pay you maybe a little bit less, but they say 4 times a week. So, and they give you rest of the day. The oil and gas companies, you work 2 weeks and take 1 month off. So you need to match the numbers to what you're getting. That is also very important, which people don't think about. In fact, you also have to calculate what is the distance to your workplace. Do you travel 1 hour? Does it take you half an hour? Does it take you 2 hours or 4 hours in traffic? People don't calculate all these factors, and these prove to be very important where making a decision is concerned. Then another point that you need to keep in mind is, what is the level of competition for your level of experience? When you're starting off, let's say, for example, you're starting off your career, there's plenty of competition. I mean, it's just a ruckus. And if you're starting your life as a freelancer, I mean, there are tens of thousands of people. However, as you climb the ladder, that is why people say, I have 10 years experience, I have 15 years experience, because they feel that they can stand out from the rest of the crowd. So even though experience does matter, like you can say, I have 15 years experience, keep in mind that somebody else can say, I have 17 years experience. Another guy can say, I have 20 years experience. So years of experience is not necessarily the only factor that can differentiate you from everyone else. It should also couple in with experience is the leadership aspect and the value that you bring, the points that I gave you before. But one of the biggest ones is the cost saving factor that you can bring into a company and the revenue that you can generate for the company. Okay. The next point that people normally don't consider is, do you have a business profile? Do you have a resume? Now, when I ask people, do you have a resume? Automatically, the answer is yes, I have a resume. And then if I ask them, did you rebrand it? Yeah, I paid this company $100, $500, got to rebrand. No, you're mistaken. It is not a proper rebrand, because if you have given it to a company, the guy who has spoken to you, the salesperson, point of sale, who has spoken to you, taken your details, they normally put all the details into the computer, copy, paste, and then print out a resume or business profile and give you back. Keep in mind, if a company wanted a world-class business profile, a brochure, a business card, a logo, what you pay is what you get. If you were to go to Ogilvy and Mather or BBDO, the top advertising agencies in the world, where companies like Emirates Airlines and let's say Barclays Bank and Rolex or Lexus or Rolls-Royce, they would get a world-class brochure, resume, logo, because they get the best in the world focusing on that. But if you were to go to Al Ghafoor printers or Mark's agency, some small piddly little Ram Kumar's advertising agency, some ordinary shit, that is what you'd get, because that's a level of expertise, that's a level of talent that they can employ. So in the same way, if you're talking of your business profile, the amount of thought, effort, creativity, experience that goes into making it will differentiate you from the rest of the competition in the market. Okay? Now, here's a thumb rule that I'll give you. If you're thinking of making your profile or your business document or your resume, look at it as creating a company. If you were to invest, let's say, $100,000 or $500,000, you're going to put into a company, you would think about what is the logo, what is the slogan, what are the services, What should I put on a brochure? What are the images? What should be vision, mission statement? What are the policies that should be put in place? You put so much of creativity, so much of effort, so much of thought. It's like a marriage. When you think of getting married, people put their lives into it. Everyone sits and brainstorms and puts ideas. Even the cufflings that people choose. Oh, should I choose this or this? No, no, no. What about this and this? Doesn't match the tie. So you need to put that kind of effort into your profile. Okay, and keep this in mind. Your business profile should match your working skills. Should match the vacancy in the market. Should match how you speak, what you speak, how you sell, how you negotiate. Everything should be in sync. It should not be that your personality is aggressive, but your resume is passive, and your speaking skills are more of being like an introvert. So if you're an extrovert and you're aggressive, your document, your CV should be aggressive and an extrovert. Your speaking skills should also match the same, and it should also match the job profile. Okay? Then also keep in mind, if you're planning to move into being a freelancer or doing extra hours of work just to generate some money for your profile, okay, you're planning to take something extra, I think you need to ask yourself, how many hours am I willing to dedicate for this? How much money can I make per hour, per week, per day, per month? What are different packages that I can offer? Standard, premium, extra premium, or you can put it silver, gold, diamond, different levels. What are the add-ons that you can offer? Okay, if you pay, let's say 20% more, this is what I can give you. Or you put $100 more, this is the extra that I'll give you. It's just like going into McDonald's, you're ordering a burger and they say, would you like French fries and a drink for only $5? And then they say, if you upgrade just for $1 more, it'll be double the size, or $2 more, it'll be triple the size plus a free ice cream. So they keep selling you more. You need to have the same with regards to your profile, and that is what would help you stand out. The other thing that you need to keep in mind is, what are your costs? Like, for example, your rent, your travel, your petrol, your electricity, your water, your children's education, your insurance, your future, emergency expenses. All these factors have to be kept in mind when you're calculating what is it that you're worth. Because at the end of the day, it's, if you are earning, let's say, $10,000 and your expenses from the suit that you wear, the car you rent out is $9,990, you're only saving $10. So the day you lose your job, what do? You can't just bank on $10. So keep this in mind. Know your costs, which is very important. Another pointer which you need to keep in mind, especially when you're reaching a midlife crisis, is what is plan B, what is plan C, what is plan D. If your company terminates you, where do you go? If you get sick for 6 months, do you have the funds for it? If you resign from the company or leave the country, what's next? So you need to really ask yourself these questions, because these are the tough questions. And if you hide behind a blanket of security and say, no, computers will never take on my job, I'll not lose my job, forget it, I'll think about it when it happens. Remember, people in the 80s kept saying that. They lost their jobs. People in the 90s did that. Technology took over, information took over. Today, you have so much of competition. You have social media landscape. You have today's younger talent that is coming over. Even some of them don't even have degrees, but they're taking over the workplace. So you can't hide. You just can't hide. Okay. Also, the second last point that I would say is, keep in mind, when you're changing a career or when you are trying something new, the first 2 years is you starting from scratch, from zero. So if you leave a company and join a new company, you'll be starting from zero, actual zero. Or if you start your own business, the first 2 years you'll just be spending money. For me, it took me, I think, 4 years to keep spending money month after month after month after month, borrowing money, investing in myself, studying, learning, educating. And the first 2 years was absolutely zero. First 4 months, not in a penny I earned, not in one penny, So it took me 4 years to kind of break even. So keep this in mind. If you're changing your careers or you're trying something new, first 2 years, nothing but zero. And last, if not least, is when you're changing a career or trying something new, moving into a new industry, it will involve a lot more stress, a lot more work, a lot more uncertainty. Rewards will always be there, but the fact that uh, you're trying in something new, you have to. It's whether you like it or not, you have to put in more hours, more stress, more work. It's like something that you've never done before, and it'll really kill you. So these are the pointers that I would recommend or I would share with someone who's going through midlife crisis or changing a career at the age of 40, trying something new or new job or whatever. Keep these factors in mind. Get yourself professionally evaluated. Go to a proper world-class mentor or someone who can really not only evaluate you but also guide you towards something worthwhile and help you make that transition successfully. Because remember this, once you reach the age of 40, your options are very numbered. You have limited, number of opportunities, and it can make you or break you completely. Because age is a factor. It's a very big factor, and people don't think about this. So Lloyd from LloydMachedo.com, who's Lloyd Machedo and Think Personal Branding. Like the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't like it, give it a thumbs down. And if you have any questions, let me know. So this is me, Lloyd from LloydMachedo.com, signing off for now. Take care. Bye.